Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about how to train for a Run Disney race when your schedule is wild.
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
Okay, this is a common problem for healthcare workers, physicians, nurses, and other professionals who do some kind of shift work, and then just other runners who have crazy schedules. If you are a nurse, a shift worker, a physician, or someone who works 12-hour days and has inconsistent time off, this is for you. I'm going to walk you through how I help clients in this exact situation design a 14-day training rhythm that works for their life, not against it. Most training plans assume a 7-day work rest structure. That means 7 days of your life, that your week after week is consistently the same. And for somebody who has a life that is consistently the same, a general PDF training plan works really well for them. But if you work 3 days on, 4 days off, or if your recovery days are random, your days off are random, they're interrupted by call shift, it's no wonder you can't follow a standard plan. The problem isn't your motivation. It's the mismatch between your life and the plan. And forcing yourself to cram in all of your runs during your days off is what leads to mental burnout and physical fatigue. Instead of trying to make every week perfect, zoom out. Let's look at, instead of 7 days at a time, a typical week, let's look at 14 days. Here's how I would structure 14 days for someone like you. 2 long runs, 3 to 4 cross training days, 1 or more speed workouts, and 3 or more rest days. That's over the course of 14 days. Now, we do want to structure these. If we are looking at top priority of things, top priority when you are training for a Run Disney race and just looking to finish, complete the miles, and get it done, long runs are your priority. What does that mean? That means that if you can only do 1 run a week, that is your long run. If you can only do 1 run in a single 7-day span, that's your long run. So over the 14 days, if you work an odd schedule, over those 14 days, have 2 long runs. Spread them out across 7 days. Keep them on the same day if possible. These are the most important for endurance. However, if you have odd schedule, maybe you work 7 days on, 7 days off, and you don't exactly have the same days off every week, or maybe you pick up shifts or switch shifts with somebody, aim to get as close to 7 days apart as you can. But if you have to, you have some wiggle room. So some weeks it might be 6 days apart, other weeks it's 8 or 9 days apart. That's okay. So as an example, I worked with a client who's a physician, and she worked 7 days on, 7 days off. It was a really quirky schedule for a running plan. So for her, it wasn't always the exact same days off each week. So you may have to finagle the schedule, but that's why we're looking at 14-day segments. So for this particular person, she worked Sunday to Sunday. So for the first week, she had her long run on Saturday before working on Sunday number 1. Then you're working all week until Sunday number 2. Then her next long run was Monday after Sunday number 2. That week she had off, and then the next long run might be Saturday or Sunday number 3, just depending on how everything fell. So you can work it out that way. Or maybe you work 3 on, 4 off, and your schedule is the same each week, but it's 3 12-hour days in a row. So let's say you work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You could have your long run every Saturday. Okay, let's move on. Cross training days. So I said 3 to 4 cross training days over the course of 14 days. This can include walking, hiking, elliptical, bike. There's a whole array. It doesn't have to be crazy long. 45 minutes. This is movement. You can even make 2 of your work days be cross-training days. If you're a nurse, as an example, and you work in a hospital, you're on your feet all day. You're getting movement all day. You're getting those steps in. Count it. It doesn't have to be excessive. Now, I asked ChatGPT what an example of cross training was, and I had to pick my jaw up off the floor because it says an 8 to 9 mile hike is good cross training for runners. Excuse me? An 8 to 9 mile hike? That's going to take me 3 hours. Don't get me wrong, that is cross training, but let's tone it down a bit. Now, if you are not on your feet all day like a nurse, maybe you're a physician doing telehealth or other healthcare provider doing telehealth, or some other person doing shift work that doesn't involve standing on your feet all day and walking around all day. If you are pretty sedentary, but on call, so to speak, or maybe you have to be on the phone for 20 minutes here, then you have a long break, and then you're on the phone for an hour, and then another break, something like that, where it's kind of like up in the air and you can't get a solid 45 minutes in. Get what you can. Can you go walk on the treadmill or walk outside, bring your phone with you for 20 minutes, and then take the next call, and then you have another 10-minute break, so you go walk 10 more minutes, then you get another call, maybe it's 2 or 3 hours later, until you can get another 20-minute walk? Break it up. It doesn't need to be consecutive. It just needs to be in that day, trying to get that heart rate up for a total of 45 minutes or so. If you can break it up, that's better than nothing. Okay, speed workouts. Aim to have at least one speed workout in those 14 days. Now, I say at least one because depending on what your schedule actually is, you may not be able to get more than one, and that's okay. I have a few workarounds. But I will say, if you can't get a ton of speed work in, for somebody who just wants to finish, that's okay. If you're looking for a significant PR, you definitely need speed workouts. So you should have an even more personalized schedule for that to happen. So speed workouts could be 30, 20, 10, progression runs, hill repeats, or tempo runs. That's what I include in my training plans. They can be 30 to 45 minutes. Now, we want quality over quantity. So go really hard on these days, and they don't have to be long. Like I said, these ones can be a little bit trickier to stay consistent with when you work shift work because you may not have enough days in the week to be able to do these. If you're training for a challenge like the 10K and half marathon 2-day challenge or something like Dopey, I do recommend having back-to-back long run days. And if you work shift work, you can incorporate your speed workouts into the shorter of the long run. And instead of it being easy, you incorporate speed work into some or all of it. Now, I still recommend keeping the speed work portion to 45 minutes or less, and then make up the rest of the time with your easy pace. If you work 7 days on, 7 days off, you can incorporate 2 speed workout days during your off week. And then finally, rest days. I recommend 3+ rest days over a 14-day period. If you can get 2 each week, so total of 4 over the 14 days, That's ideal, but we'll take 3 over those 14 days. Rest days are not optional, especially if you're on your feet for 12 hours or feeling drained. Those work days count as physical load. That's why I said you can count those as cross training days. I recommend having actual rest days, not saying just a non running day is a rest day, meaning your 12-hour shift is a rest day. It's not. If you're on your feet for 12 hours, that is not rest. If you want to successfully train for a Run Disney race without getting burnt out or injured, you need actual rest days where you do just general errands, normal activities. You're not working 12-hour shifts. That's not a rest day. So remember, being on your feet for 12 plus hours, that is load on your body. We need to stop pretending that running is the only training that counts. Time on your feet counts. You're not behind. You're carrying more than most people realize. And clustering runs on your few days off, it leads to resentment and exhaustion. You're better off doing less, but with intention. Instead of squeezing in all the runs, ask yourself, what are my top priorities this week? And it's definitely the long run that needs to be this top priority, and then some other structured movement. Give yourself permission to let go of perfect weeks. If your training plan isn't matching your life, that's a sign to adjust the plan, not give up. Start thinking in 14-day blocks, not 7. If you want a coach who can help you map this out and stop guessing, that's exactly what I do inside Stronger, Faster, Finisher. I just met with a new client today in the newest Stronger, Faster, Finisher program, and she wanted to make sure I was okay with Sunday being a complete rest day. I said, absolutely. I programmed her long run per her request on Saturday and made sure Sunday was a rest day. She thanked me for being so flexible with the schedule. And in reality, we're looking at longevity of running, being able to run for years to come. You don't want to get burnt out because you're trying to fit a square peg of life into a round hole of a training plan. Manipulate the schedule to make them fit together perfectly so you can stay consistent and enjoy running.
Hey, can I ask a quick favor? If you're enjoying this podcast, would you take 20 seconds to leave a rating and review? Leaving a rating and a review helps other runners find this podcast because the platform you're listening to this on will start suggesting it to runners like you. All it takes is 20 seconds. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. As always, thanks so much for listening. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.